Yo, what is up, my people? It's your boy Lucha Cooney. I am back with another video for y'all today. Hope y'all are staying well. So, man, I came across this tweet on April Fool's Day, right? So when I saw this, man, originally I just thought, okay, the person who posted this is just messing around. They couldn't be serious. You know what I mean? I thought that there was going to be a big, bunch of, crying, laughing emojis coming after this or something. But what ended up happening was the person deleted the tweet and they issued an apology. Now, the apology that came after the tweet actually ended up causing a whole bunch of questions rather than really solving the whole issue. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to share the tweet in just a second. But so here's the thing, man. The heart of what I want to discuss today is that there is a growing idolatry for unity, right? And I know that sounds crazy. But I'm going to show y'all some stuff here. And, hopefully you can see where I'm coming from with this. I think that we've reached a point where the desire to just, quote unquote, love one another or just be peaceful with one another is actually superseding our desire to obey Christ. And because of that, we're seeing people really softening their stance on a lot of things and doing so really in a way that is dangerous, man, especially if you're a leader in certain Christian spaces. The person that we're going to be looking at today is actually a CHH artist, but this is happening across the board. So I really think this is the reason why certain people, when they're being interviewed, certain Christians or professing Christians, when they're being interviewed, can't even answer questions that are very simple for a believer, man. So the person that we're talking about is the CHH artist, The.T.R.U.T.H. He is a well-respected CHH artist. I honestly think one of the best, you know what I'm saying? I think he is one of the most talented, most gifted MCs out there. He's just special, man. He's just a special artist, man. He has theological training. He has actually spoken out against a lot of issues himself. This is somebody who has stood up for the faith, man, and who has just I've always looked at as a solid brother as far as musically, his content, and just his whole pursuit of God, right? Okay, now this is the deleted tweet right here. This is the picture that was posted and then deleted. All right, so it says, the church, if they're not against us, then they're for us, right? So as I said, this is happening on April Fool's Day. I'm thinking this is a joke, right? Most people who saw it thought it was a joke initially, but this is the list, right? So if they're not against us, then they're for us. So let's go to now. I mean, mind you, just take a quick look at this. We're going to come back and look at this in a second, right? So this is the church. If they're not against us, then they're for us. And you can see some of the names of, I'm just going to call them organizations that are on here, right? Okay, so let's keep it moving. Okay, so this is the actual post with the apology now. So let's check that out. So this is The.T.R.U.T.H's Instagram page here. A lot of followers. As I said, man, like this dude, this grieves me, man. I got a lot of love for this brother, man. It's not like I don't know him personally, man, but I just got a lot of love for this brother, man. So anyway, let's go ahead into it. Boom. So this is what he posted, right? So he says, sorry, guys, there was an oversight on my part with the last post. Although I do consider 99% of the denominations listed as part of Christ's church, I literally did not see everyone. My bad, guys. Huh? So let's go back and check out this post one more time. So this is the post that he says that 99% of these organizations listed here that he calls denominations, he believes these are part of Christ's church, right? But he says he did not literally see every one. All right. So look, I'm not really that great at math, man, but let's just go ahead and check this out. All right. So 99%, right? So that would mean that if there was like, 10 of them, then it's going to be just one of them bad, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's 13 of them posted here, right? So let's just make this real easy, right? So let's just start at the top. Episcopalian, I'm going to cross that out. Orthodox, Lutheran, okay. Seventh-day Adventist, Apostolic, Presbyterian, check mark, good to go. Evangelical. This was weird because it's like, that's not a denomination. That's more of a description. Jehovah's Witnesses, Methodist, a lot of Protestant Methodist church right now, but that's neither here nor there. We'll kind of leave them there. Let's just put a question mark on Methodist right now, right? Boop, question mark on Methodist. Pentecostal, yep, just Pentecostals that be wilding, but that don't mean that, all Pentecostal churches are, not walking with the Lord or they're not solid, right? So, yeah, and I know some of y'all are gonna be mad at that, but let's just, for the sake of saying what is real and what's not, let's not go overboard here, but okay. Don't get mad at me. All right? But but Church of Christ, we know that's got to go. Catholic, that's got to go. This is how this becomes very concerning. So let's go back to the Instagram page. All right, so back to the Truth's Instagram page. All right, so on his Instagram page, if you see some of these comments now, so let's check it out. So this is what I'm saying is the problem. All right, we already looked at this list and established that there's a lot of problematic organizations that have been listed here. Some of them are just straight up cults. Okay, some of them are just straight up cults have been listed here. The Catholic Church is listed there. So they're not even Protestant. So I don't even know why the Catholic Church is listed there. Yet we have people here who are basically just cheering on the truth right here. And I'm not going to say nobody's names, but you got people saying, oh, and breathe. There are those who discern your heart. As for the others, we yet pray. All right. So here we go. People discern that, the motives of his heart are good. It doesn't matter that a lot of these churches on this list, a lot of these organizations on this list are not even churches. They're, cults. That doesn't matter. Keep walking in grace. You got runs back to said post to see what upset the bride of Christ today because we stay bothered, right? You have the God of the Bible died on the cross all in the name of love, like Diana Ross. Okay. All right. People got bars. Okay. We know your motives are pure. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ. Grace is here to stay. All right. Someone says they took that post way too seriously. I got the message. It's all good, champ. We know your heart. It's all good, LOL. On and on and on. And there's only a few people. So the JWs are the only group on that list that you would say aren't part of the church. So there's one person who asked that question. There's Seal the Zeal here. So Seal the Zeal, shout out to Seal the Zeal. Which ones are you saying aren't part of the faith? Right? So I see at least Seal the Zeal asked this question, right? So not to keep going on and on about this and going through this entire list, man, but the point being, very few people are asking Like, hey, man, what did you mean by that? What did you mean by that? As much as he has stood up for the faith and, as I said, been a just strong and firm and not backing down as far as talking about certain issues, there's also been some moments where I've kind of cringed, man, at certain things that he's done or been involved in. I remember this being maybe 2017, 2018. I'm going to get the right time frame, but I remember a few years back, the Truth going to perform in South Africa. And he went to perform in South Africa at a church that is led by a notorious false prophet who at the present time right now is a fugitive who is at large, who has fled the country, ran away from the South African authorities, facing various charges that include, allegations of, sexual misconduct and some stuff that's also financial. This is a guy named Prophet Bushiri. All right. So false prophet, dude with a big church, big following, and the Truth went to perform there. There's only a few possible reasons that you would go willingly perform at a church that has a false prophet as the leader. So it's number one, it's either you didn't know, right? He didn't know. And I find that hard to believe because, as I said, all you have to do is watch a couple of videos, man. There's a video where the dude's pretending to fly. He's pretending to float up the stairs or float down the stairs, man, and there's people carrying him, okay? So it's laughable foolishness, okay? Laughable foolishness. I'm sorry, I just don't believe that he didn't know. So next possible reason is that maybe he just didn't care, okay? So maybe he just didn't care and said, okay, I know this dude's a false prophet, but I'm going to go anyway, and it's not a big deal. So that's another reason that, I'm not trying to assume his motives. I'm just trying to work this out for myself, and hopefully y'all can see where I'm going with this, okay? The third reason is that it's possible that he knew, so he went into it willingly, but he actually thought that somehow some good can come out of it. I'm going to go with number 3. If he assumes somehow that he's going to go to a false church and somehow he's going to reach people and there's folks that need to be reached over there, so he's going to go preach the gospel or something like that. So I think that there is a sense of a desire for unity that perhaps maybe comes from a good place, but it is misguided. In this effort to connect with different people, different denominations, to go to different places and perhaps to try to be a light even in those spaces, we might find ourselves compromising. We might find ourselves locking arms with people we really shouldn't be locking arms with, and eventually ending up calling them part of the church. So I believe that that's what happened in this case. I believe that that's what's happening with the Truth in this instance. I believe that this is what has led him to reach a point of actually calling straight up cults part of the church. I don't think it's a lack of knowledge. I don't think that he is unaware of their theological stances. I don't think that he is ignorant of what they believe. I think that he's well read. I think that he's a very intelligent brother, smart brother, educated, theologically trained, all that. So I find it hard to believe that he doesn't know. But what I am saying is that as you start to, whether it's because you are trying to reach folks or you're trying to be somebody who connects with different denominations, quote unquote, you could find yourself compromising. You could find yourself compromising, and in the name of what starts to happen is this desire to be somebody who can go to various places, and we start misusing text like being all things to all men. By the way, this is how this happens. You get this being misused all the time. And it starts to be misused in cases like this, where it's like a desire for a unity or a blending in or a togetherness with certain people that honestly shouldn't even be there. There's no togetherness. I mean, Jesus wasn't just chilling with sinners. He wasn't just chilling with them. He was there witnessing to them. He was telling them the truth. So I want to share one of the responses to the tweet right here, the original tweet, the one that was taken down. So this is one of the responses to it. And I think that this really helps to capture the heart of what I'm saying and the reason why I feel that it's important to speak about these things and to point these things out. Let me try to expand it a little bit for you. So shout out to my man Will again. He said, apostolic is demonic. SDA is a false church. Church of Christ is a cult. And Jehovah's Witness denies the deity of Christ. So in the essentials, they are against Christ, therefore against his church. Fix that, my brother, and don't fall into heresy. So shout out to Woodlawn Mike. And from reading this, man, you can see the heart of where I'm coming from with all this, why I think this is important, right? So he says, bruh, I grew up apostolic, and I can tell you that it's heretical and therefore against Christ. If it's against Christ, it is against us. Please don't compromise truth for the sake of false unity. And therein lies the issue right there. You know what I'm saying? There are people's lives who have been damaged by false teaching, by being in false churches, being involved in cults. There are people's lives who have been severely wrecked, and they still have they're still living with the consequences of that, man. There's people who are still healing from this stuff. There's people who are trying to get out of that stuff. And that's even probably the worst part, is that there are people who are still in there trying to get out, and they're getting possibly exposed. Maybe there might be people the Lord is calling out of these churches, and they're starting to be aware of that. I myself was called out of one of these churches. I'm a former SDA member. So I was in a church where I thought everything was all good, but it's like the Lord starts to work on your heart and expose the false teachings within that church and starts to pull you out. If you're in one of these false churches and and the Lord is pulling you out, and you hear somebody who you're starting to trust, or maybe you already listened to and you thought that they were solid, and instead of them telling you that, hey, the church you're in is a false church, and influencing you to come out, they might influence you to instead stay there and be comfortable there, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there's a lot of danger. There's a lot at stake here, man. We're talking about people's souls at the end of the day, man. There's a lot at stake here. It is dangerous to play around with this stuff. False unity, being a leader and co-signing groups that are clearly heretical, that are clearly cults, man, and telling people that these are part of the body of Christ, man. It is really, really dangerous, man. It's really dangerous, and we can't just sort of turn a blind eye to this, man. So, look, man, I'm just going to close by saying I hope that the truth realizes that this is not cool. It's not acceptable. He realizes what is at stake. He turns around and hopefully issues even another apology. I hope he just kind of like looks at the whole situation and says, you know what, I was just tripping last weekend and I got to clear this up. I really do, man, because I think it's that important. I think like this has to come from him. And also, because there's so many people being influenced by him, we saw on his page that people, instead of pushing back against this, were just saluting what he was doing. Were just cheering for him. They were in his corner saying, man, we know your heart. Hey, man, don't worry about it. It's all good, man. It's no big deal. Nah, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. It may not be a big deal to y'all, but it's a big deal for people who are in those false churches who need to come out. Thank you all so much for watching, man. I appreciate you taking your time to check this out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, man, if you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God. Set your minds on things that are above, not on things that are on earth. All right? God bless y'all, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.